That needs to be walled up, I think, if you're Kingston.
Yeah.
But it's super hard to fully wall this map, and Tato just keeps taking full advantage of it.
This is the castle I was talking about. Nice in range of the gold. Will get some villager kills, but yeah.
I think he also has a Treb nearby that castle that he brought over. No, he's got 2 Trebs there. My bad. He's got 2 Trebs there. I mean, he's going to just switch sides on Tato right now. Yeah. He's losing villagers. They both have lost a ton of villagers. But if he can switch sides with Trebs and Camels, Tato needs a response to it. Tato needs to divvy up those Cav Archers to get the proper amount on each side.
He's defending both with crazy armies now. 80 and 70 military. Now another Flaming Camel coming in. Doesn't want to connect with the Treb, but with the Camels. Oops.
Yeah, does take out the Treb. Will take out the Camels there. That's a good fight there for Tato. But the left side, the Camels are just going to dive now. And that's what you need to do if you're Kingston here. The Camels can also help even more than the Trebuchets can on the Castle Foundation.
So many raids happening at the same time, but this is tricky for Tato to control, right? Especially if he's splitting up his CA. And now he's raiding with the CA on the right-hand side, and that's why he has to retreat here at the left-hand side.
Oh my goodness, this is crazy. We have raids everywhere. We have raids from Tato on the left, on the right, in the middle now, but he's losing his castle, and he's soon going to have very little access to Golden Stone on these side areas.
Relic count 1 to 0.
That's how you know it's a crazy
game. That's at the right-hand side for Tato, I believe. And oh, look at that! He's trying to sneak one back.
Okay, so he might get another one. He is also banking a lot of gold, which is a big deal in these situations. So the fact that he's got 50 Cav Archers, if he can just keep those alive, and now maybe make that Halb switch, as you said, he could hold on here. Kingston, though, 200 population, still has an issue with the amount on wood.
Crazy, 4 on wood only.
I think he just lost so many villas. He's lost 150, and most of them were in the north. That's where his wood was, and that's where a lot of his farmers were.
The lumber camp even. Like, we are saying 4 on wood, but...
Yeah, I guess they're very inefficient 4. Sounds like a crappy movie, The Inefficient 4. Oh, man, there go villagers going down for Tato. Oh, it's an absolute slaughter here. Again, this will free up more population for Army. But does he have the army to stop the Camels? It's 63 Imperial Age Camels for Kingston.
So much easier to play for him as well, right? He just needs to patrol in and hope that Tato is maybe not taking care. And Tato, especially with splitting the army, makes life tough on himself.
Yeah, I think Kingston finding that stone will be really helpful. What he's missing, I think, to win this game is just castles in his eco. And he'll drop this castle. That's a castle to go for the kill again. That's crazy. I actually think it's good it's denied, because you can think twice about that one. But yeah, that stone will give him access to more. Tato's raiding in the north. And again, the Camels are out of position because Tato split up the group.
Okay, now Flaming Camels are coming in. Want to see the HP on Kingston's Camels will be tricky. Oh, this could be big.
Yeah, I don't think Kingston can easily justify an engagement, but then again, his castle's going up. Oh my god, the Flaming Camels were insane there. Kingston's still losing a lot of villagers. Tato only has 85 villagers. Can Tato kill off the Camels now after the Flaming Camel shots? I think he will, but I think the castle might go up for Kingston.
So weird that the Camels are not aggressing themselves, right? They just park themselves next to the engagement there. Tato is now going for some traps as well. Oh god, this is getting intense. Tato down to 150 pop.
Yeah, 150 pop, but Kingston's got 3 on wood, bro. He's
the
got 3 on wood.
Tato's economy is in shambles behind this. Yeah. He doesn't have farmers. Look at that camel raid.
Oh man, and that's a big thing I think we missed, because there were villagers falling this entire time. Now the castle for Kingston won't really do a ton long term. I think it's just going to be a Treb target, but it keeps Tato there for an extra minute or 2 so he can do the damage elsewhere.
Absolutely beautiful game here for Kingston. So
35 on stone for Kingston.
3 on wood? What's happening? He keeps on buying wood. The wood price is at 67. How's that a thing?
He's dropping another castle?
He wants to finish the game.
Okay. Well, let's see if he can do it.
Wood. I need to finish the game.
Yeah, let's see if he can do it. The wood is in the middle next to these castles as well. He'll take 1 Treb. He'll take 2 Trebs, which means the castle will stand. He'll have his own Treb behind this. And now Tato doesn't have an easy way to engage against the Trebuchets.
56 CA, but can't take the fight. Between 2 castles, they have Bracer, skirms around even, some of them. And Kingston, he's building more villagers. Crazy game. Kingston takes his first ever map win on the LAN.
Yeah, and I mean, who's to say he's not going to get more after that? An amazing start, which completely shifts the storyline. Or maybe the storyline remains the same, but it makes it a lot more interesting. It makes it feel real now that this underdog could show everyone exactly who he was in the run to get here in the first place. Tato under threat now. Here's a fun little stat for you. Tato's 0-4 so far in this tournament, and he's playing like a beast.
Ooh, sick. Yeah. And let's be honest, I think it will be tricky if there's no hole. Oh, we didn't see those quick walls. Tries to get them. Doesn't see that the forest isn't going to the edge of it.
Yeah. It was a crazy moment in the game right there from him. Also focusing on the gold. Honestly, it's a really hard situation for us to find the POV there to do the proper replay, because what that game was focusing in 18 different spots.
Yeah.
You know, 18 different spots. I think the key for me, like, he lost a lot more villagers than Tato did that game. I think it was at one point it was 100 losses for him and only like 30 for Tato, but he had TCs everywhere. He had the 4 starting TCs, and then I think he added an additional 2, and they were always producing more villagers.
Yeah, and it was like when he was at like 100 villagers, I think his idle TC time was like a minute 40.
Yeah,
it was
so good.
Completely ridiculous.
Yeah, and I was going to be critical at a certain point because he lost all army control in Castle Age. I was just like, you're over booming, bro. You can't do that. Turns out he just needed those villagers to work for a little bit, and then he took the map. So, is Tato worried right now? I mean, this is a crazy situation for him.
It depends a bit on like why he thinks he lost the game. If he thinks, okay, my macro was worse in the late game, then obviously with the maps that we have, it could be tricky. If he thinks, okay, it's only the hole that's happened there, then I think he's fine.
And maybe he could think the matchup was kind of difficult because he did play very well. He maxed out his civilization's potential, except for maybe Halb, and the Hindustanis were too strong there. So Tato will get to choose now. He has Migration and Costa Mountain as his home maps. I would say, even though it's a very difficult map to play, I would say go for your number 1 pick, your best map right now. Persians is that pick. I think they're the best map on best civ, on Costa Mountain. So that would just be my guess. But maybe Tato wants to take Kingston off of land entirely, and maybe he wants to take it to water on Migration.
Potentially. Like Persians, we just feel like it's the next civ that you will like fault people for not banning. Right?
Yeah.
I still think you are on the Georgians and Chinese boat, and soon you will add Persians there because they looked really strong.
Especially on any map where you can take advantage of water at the start, but you don't actually need water long term. It's the perfect, any map where that description fits, it's perfect for Persians. And another thing is you want mobility. You don't want a map where foot archers are incorporated. That's Costa Mountain for you because you're very far apart, and Persians use this speed.
Unless you're Hera and you do 45 crossbows.
True, but that was more of a desperation move than anything. And yeah, Tato maybe felt after he lost that game yesterday, like it felt as though maybe Persians were a bit broken. He's like, how I didn't win that game. So yeah, Persians was a good pick there. So we'll see. We'll find out game number 2. I think Tato's mentality is probably strong enough to be able to work past that. I don't think he's going to start panic mode. I think panic mode might set in a little bit if he goes down 0-2. But if I know Tato, even then that makes him focus even more, you know.
Yeah. We've seen him come back from 2-0s as well, and still on paper he should be the better player. Still 2 home maps to go. We are far from over.
But I mean, this feels fantastic if you're Kingston to finally get that win on, and also it wasn't like a consolation feeling victory, right? Where you got completely stomped the first 2 games and then maybe you get wins. He starts off the series with the win. This is do or die for both players. Welcome in, everyone. I know people are probably showing up now that weren't here and can't believe the scoreline. We've got Migration now. We talked about this in the back room because there's different versions of Migration. Essentially, this is a size 2 map. Some versions of Migration are actually a bit bigger to offer a lot more land space. And essentially what that means is water is more important, I would say, because the map's smaller. Yeah. But also it's way more restrictive and difficult to play this one in the middle island there. So because it's so narrow, is forward dock a viable strategy? It's not that far if you want to transport across. We saw ACCM try it, and I know other players have tried it in the past.
The thing is, like with 3 map size Migration, it just feels like, okay, playing on the outside, you can play super, super slow.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And here, as you said, like water control feels really nice, and I'm a bit surprised by the civilization choice. We thought Byzantines might be the choice for Tato. He actually went for Malay.
Okay.
That will be a question mark for me what he wants to play on Fortress, because he doesn't want to play Byzantines on Fortress.
Probably Turks. He did have Turks on the draft, so maybe that makes that clear.
Turks against Bohemians? That has to be a CA play then, right?
Maybe.
We think that far.
Yeah, maybe. Huh. Well, there's 2 villagers on the shorefish there. And if I were to look for an indicator on how a fast feudal, it would be 2 villagers on the shorefish. Now, I think that happens more with 9 villager starts, honestly, but we'll see. The point is in some versions of migration, players will opt to go fast castle. The other play would be fast feudal. There are other deviations. You could maybe go fast feudal, make 2 galleys to go snipe fish, and then add a bunch of fish behind. I've seen that before with the Malay.
Slam played that in a TTL.
Yeah, Sato. Shout out to Sato. I know Sato's done that before as well. So that, and you don't really have scouting intel, so you're just adjusting on the fly here.
Both going with like mediocre speed, I would say.
Yeah.
Right. Clicking up, obviously Malay, advancing so much faster, so it will be an easy defense for them. And this feels like both are playing from home. No transport on the queue.
Both playing from home. I mean, Malay, I don't mind advancing fast feudal. We see that pretty commonly. Dravidians, if anything, would have bonuses that would lean more towards multiple docks and more fish. But maybe against the Malay, that's a little risky to go for here.
Depends a bit on the timing that you're expecting as well. Look at that. He is building both of his docks in the middle. That would be really scary if Tato actually went for the forward docks.
Yeah, and no transports in queue.
Yeah. I think it will just be full galley from both players.
Full galley. I guess we'll see.
3 dock galley, or are you trying to play fires from long distance?
I feel like if you know your opponent's going galley, you stay on galley. But if you don't know if your opponent's going galley, you might go 2 galleys and then add fish to be greedy.
But now you know that your opponent is not going fires, right? Because the uptiming was so late. Kingston scouts it. He sees no forward dock, and Tato knows, okay, you're up late, so you're never going fires.
Yeah, that's the big thing here. Yeah. Now, maybe the villager could be walking across still, though. Like, we've seen people get the scout timing wrong. I think he'd be correct to assume because he also has the buffaloes there, and the buffaloes haven't been lost.
Interesting house by Tato. Oh, that's for a 3rd dock. Okay. So he's trying to fish boom behind this as well.
Interesting.
Just like it, right? That villager always builds the dock afterwards.
Yeah. So, I normally, if this was islands, you would look at this right now and you'd say, well, Kingston's up against Malay. He's just going to be out-gallied. He's dead, right? Because he's out-timed. But it takes so long for Tato to get over there that by the time Tato arrives, Kingston should have enough defensive galleys. This really shouldn't snowball too heavily because of the faster feudal age time, but Tato does have more workers available, so the eco's still slightly better for the Malay.
Yeah, and it will be 2 docks for the Malay player, 3 docks for Dravidians. They obviously get the extra 200 wood, and yeah, as you can see, Tato knows, okay, long distance. Let's add some fishing ships.
This is
not a great. Look at how far the next deep fish is, though.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate for him. Fortunately for him, he's Malay and he can see it. Other civs might not. And there might have been some question as to what the opponent was going for here. So Kingston had moved out, didn't know there were 2 galleys there. Oh, that hurts. That hurts a lot. Tato, great job of jumping on top of that, gets their first kill. And Kingston should still have enough galleys here defending. But they're essentially doing the same thing. And now Tato goes a little too far himself. And Tato will lose a galley.
Yeah, this is very unlikely to be decisive in either way. Or losing the second one might hurt, actually.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. And Tato, I think he needs to stop fishing ship production at 6 here. He needs to get galleys out.
Yeah. And you want enough galleys to defend, but you don't want to overmake galleys and not prioritize your eco here. And then you also have to consider the transport timing.
Look at that. Rushing the market with 3 villagers here. Kingston really wants the better market prices.
I have a prediction. I think Kingston will sell his stone at the market in every game except for Regicide Fortress.
Ooh.
Actually,
goes to mountain prediction and would be wild.
Actually,
and madness.
I could even go as far to say he'll do it on Regicide Fortress and he's gonna mine stone and sell it to go up to Castle Age and boom.
With what civ?
Bohemians.
Oh, really?
You know how why I think he's gonna do that? Because I remember he did that exact thing in his game with the Bengalis. He sold stone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, with Bohemians, that's even better, right? Because you mine the stone faster.
Yeah, he really, he's an underdog. You're against Malay now here as well. The market can help you hit some better timings. And he's very comfortable with that. He does it a lot on Arabia-style maps as well to play into crossbowmen. So, and he is going to get the resources to go to Castle Age much faster than he would have. Tato's going to use the market as well.
Look at that. 4 galleys out against 8 galleys right now. Both players skipping fletching. Tato, he needs to micro well here.
Yeah. I think the blacksmith isn't completed yet for Kingston. He would do that.
Will be soon, though.
And there he goes. And just as Kingston got confident with his numbers, Tato has more galleys. And they're both on the way to Castle Age here.
Tato adds a fire. Likely to be from the dock at the top and try to squeeze it around.
Yeah. That's nice, because microing galleys, it's very messy. And fires, similar to knights on land, you can just toss them in, and sometimes they can get some insane damage when the games get crazy.
Catching both. Tato patrolled in. So did Kingston. KD 5-4.
Yeah, it could be really nice here for Kingston. I know he'll be later to upgrades, but he can just flee. As long as he doesn't get on the wrong side of Tato here. If he goes too far, then he's trapped. But being behind to the Castle Age is probably still fine if he can just fall all the way back and wait for his own upgrades.
Kingston did not add fishing ships behind us, so he's quote-unquote stuck at 4 right now. And both players adding the transporter. Timing to get to the middle.
Yeah, and again, there's not a lot of space there. So it can be really awkward. Sometimes you'll see 2 players arrive to the only town centerable position, and they'll have to fight over it. So
Kingston with the 2 buffaloes should have a good idea where to build.
True.
His docks, his castle, though. His town center.
And you can see the fire paying off slightly for Tato. War galleys on the way. It's actually kind of nice for Kingston. He's getting damage on that before it becomes an upgraded fire, though. Like, that could have been so much better for Tato had he waited a little bit longer. Obviously, that's not something you can really think about as a player.
Yeah, and you kind of build it to just patrol it and let it do his job.
Exactly. It is still taking Kingston's attention away from everything else. And Kingston getting his upgrades. He has to be careful now on the other side with his Navy. Tato's got his upgrades. Actually, Bodkin was a little delayed for Tato, but he will still have the timing advantage. Kingston has the numbers, though. I think Tato might have just made it to the middle with some villagers, though.
Tato goes to the left? What? Interesting. He's trying to trade this off now. I think he's going... Interesting that he has a galley still in the queue. He queues more galleys?
Wow. I think he's kind of trapped himself here, Nil.
Yeah.
I think he got in the wrong position. I think if Tato would have gone to the right side, could have potentially fallen back. Maybe he just takes some fishing ship kills. Hello, guys. How you doing? We're told we're going to Tato's point of view. Tato's point of view is behind us right now.
There we go.
There's Tato's point of view. And Tato, I want to see, is he actually actively moving villagers in the middle? You see how focused he is on water. There's the fire ships. See how little you're looking at your economy right now if you're Tato, which is crazy. Looking for the low HP ships. His micro's been fantastic, honestly. But there's no town center focus in the middle. Eventually, Kingston's going to kill this, but the fact that it took Kingston this long, I think, is pretty good for Tato. There's the villagers we were talking about, and here we are back.
Product production for Tato should be on the menu, actually, right? He doesn't have a single villager on food right now.
Villagers, I think, are in middle for Kingston.
Oh, yeah.
They're there.
Right.
Okay, so Kingston's going to buy stone probably for a town center there. He brought 5 vills, which is very nice. Yes. So he could build that TC really quickly.
Scouting transport? Okay.
Yeah, Tato loses his transport ship.
Needs to build another one, right?
Well, he's already in the middle. Yeah. So if he's already in the middle, I guess he doesn't have to make another one.
Ooh, that's a good dog. That's really nice to get some fires out and kill the fishing ships of Tato.
Tato doesn't have a town center yet. If this is 2 town centers for both, Kingston's Ville count's going to rise. Now, eventually, you're going to need farms, and eventually, you might want a castle. There's so much to look at right now. But what a close game. It feels like Tato's got the slight edge, but Kingston, if things keep going this way, could pull it back and could be ahead.
Tato struggling a bit with food right now. Can't really keep his town center running as well. Not a single village on food again.
Kingston also adding fishing ships. He seems to understand he can do that right now. Yeah. He's also actively producing fires from the forward dock, which is lovely. The scout will be something we have to look at as well. This is so complicated, guys. Migration's probably one of the most difficult maps to play. But speaking of scouting, Tato did spot the forward dock, so it shouldn't surprise him as much as it could have.
Yeah. And fortunately for him, his war galleys were already there, so should clear this one up quite nicely. Another fortunate thing for him, relic spawn in the center island. One relic in the left, 4 relics on the right-hand side.
I did notice that before. Yeah, like the relics are super heavily squeezed over to the right-hand side. That could be just because there's more land there, right? Like the relics have to spawn on land. It's most of the land, and so there's more space to breathe long-term for Tato if things remain as is. But the population's evening out here, and the Navy comes in from Kingston. The Fire's getting some excellent value in the group. And I've loved Kingston's macro here. He's up to 15 on food when he was at 5 before. Tato's only 4 on food. That's just fishing ships. Yeah. Tato has not transitioned into some farms, it seems.
That's so weird, right? And yeah, let's take a look at the farm count then from Kingston. Like Tato, as you said, 0.
Yep.
Small transition here. Like
and it's so difficult to do. He's also got the deer there. He added more fishing ships. It is not easy, guys. But Kingston turning this one around a little bit. The Malay timings we've seen time and time again just dominate the game. You can never catch up. You can never recover. But I felt like the TCs were a key point. Now I think vision on the middle is going to be a key point for both. And they're both building outposts.
Love that.
And Tato's scout is just chilling there. And neither player noticed.
Okay, moves around. Okay, now some damage there. Wants to deal with that dog. 13 war galleys, and Tato is building another transporter. Tato at 18 war galleys.
Tato's going to drop a castle here soon. He's got villagers on stone at home, villagers on stone in the middle. He doesn't actually have many villagers in the middle to build it, but it seems like his plan.
Kingston is on stone as well with 5 villagers though, so his castle will be slower. Maybe wants to buy the remaining stone and try to counter castle, or will he give up his town center spot? Oh, Siege Workshop could be nice for him.
Yeah, I love Siege. Even the presence of a Siege Workshop now makes Tato think twice about a forward castle, but he goes for Redemption with that monk in response. Now, I wouldn't convert the Siege Workshop,
Why not?
honestly.
Why not? Just go for it. And suddenly you have a Siege Workshop in his face. Well, isn't that the dream?
Well, that is the dream, actually. But the nightmare is you go to convert the Siege Workshop, the Mangonel hops out, you lose your monk because you don't get Sanctity, and then he knows you get Redemption and you can't surprise him.
Okay.
But I agree that obviously taking the Siege Workshop would be good.
But Mangonel should pop before that. Don't think he can. Yeah, oh, that's the dead monk, most likely.
This is the nightmare.
Is it?
That's the nightmare.
Oh,
it's the dream! It's the dream! Ooh. It's the nightmare?
It's the night dream?
Well, I don't know. What's between a dream and a nightmare?
What's a scoutmare?
A nice night of sleep? I have no clue. I don't have Twitch chat up in front of me either for ideas, which means I'm going to struggle big time. We've got the Navy on the left side. That's a decent fight at the start for Kingston. He's also paying more attention to the micro here. So maybe he could still take a good fight, but I think Tato's castle securing the middle is an important thing now. And a couple Karambits could come out there. It could be really difficult for Kingston to expand with his TCs.
Yeah, Kingston can't really do anything with the siege, right? Karambit's so good against Mangonels, and yeah, it will have to be another switch. Maybe both players going to him could be an option.
Remember we looked at Tato's TC and he had no farms, and now he's up to like 15 farms. Really nice job. And nice job from him as well to really rebound on water. He dealt with the forward dock, obviously, a few minutes ago, but he has pushed his whole way across now, and I don't think Kingston was expecting this much Navy from Tato.
He's trying to queue up a bit more, but only 13 war galleys. Tato right now not doing anything on water when it comes to production, and that castle is nicely positioned on the hill, but in timing will be the most important thing.
I feel like Tato needs to know that castle's there. If he knows the castle's there, he knows to rush in. But if he doesn't know about the castle, his scout is actually gonna tell him now. He might not rush to imp otherwise. Scout goes down. I think Kingston will stabilize here on water and maybe actually get the full clear up. But Tato can fall back, and I think I see another foundation from Tato right now.
The castle there, that town center could die. Then Trapper would be the advantage, but Tato, 69 food, nothing else going for him. That will be tricky, and that Mangonel is really ambitious to get kills.
Yep, the Karambit Warriors should be able to force the siege away. That is a great castle from Tato. He has lost some water control, but he still has plenty of time to add more Navy behind this and fall back. He has the 4 relics. He's got the ships coming in on the right side to snipe some of the fish as well. And the Mangonel got converted there. And so things falling apart for Kingston.
Did he? Oh, they ran into the castle as well. Bang.
Wow, Tato's played this so well. I just think Tato has utilized the land so well this game. Yeah. He got the relics right away, and he recognized how much space he has and how little space Kingston has, so he's just restricted him in there.
1,000 gold generated only through the relics. That's so much for him. Look at that, rest collected. That alone might be the advantage.
Yeah, true. Yeah, without those relics, who knows? It felt like Kingston was better with the TC timings. He's had more fishing ships for a while. Now, obviously, he doesn't.
And Kingston could have scouted that with the Buffaloes, right? Yeah. Could have known, okay, all the relics are there on the right-hand side. Him timing should be better for Tato. I would be surprised if he queues too many more villagers. It just feels like Traps could win the game.
Just remember the timing of the transport and what was happening. Kingston was focusing more on water. He was later to transporting. Tato transported a little bit earlier, was able to move around with his scout. And that's just what it comes down to on migration. It's so tricky. Kingston needs to click in before Tato does, I think, to have good chances here. Because he needs to somehow recover in the Trebor. And being later to imp when you're down a castle in the middle would not be good for him. And he does. Click up.
Tato, how much time is he letting go before he can click up as well? Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to use the market a bit more in this scenario. Tries to get the 5th relic even. How sneaky is this guy?
5th relic. Sick. Also dropping more town centers in the middle. Also has 21 war galleys. So harassing on the left. They'll meet each other here with quite a few weak ships, actually. Also still harassing on the right. And he clicks up to the Imperial Age, will arrive to the Imperial Age faster than Kingston. I think Kingston's struggling. He's losing some ships next to the dock there. His TC is getting shot down by a castle. It feels like the game... Oh, that's his imp TC!
No way, Tristan. No, that's... No, oh, no. Oh, no.
It feels like he probably didn't do that on purpose.
I don't think so either. How much HP do we have there?
Oh, no. Don't. Oh, he doesn't know.
Oh, no.
He doesn't know.
Give us Kingston POV. Give me his face.
Yeah, can we? I would love to see Kingston's POV here, actually. Maybe not right now. Maybe a bit closer.
Well, in 500 HP.
Well, true. Yeah, actually now.
Is he sending the builds to repair? Oh, yeah, he noticed.
He noticed.
Does he? Did he? Okay,
he noticed.
Oh, okay. All good. All good.
Okay, well, this is Kingston's point of view. He's blue on his screen. He's repairing that. He's keeping a close eye on it. And obviously, you can see how hectic things are for him right now. Trying to recover on water, hoping, praying he makes it to Imp faster. He will see Imp from Tato come in. He will make it to Imp soon. I think the TC's probably fine now, but Tato should be in a much better position right now.
Can we do chemistry here and try to somehow get to some bombard cannons? Tato already has redemption, right? Block printing,
yeah.
Then will be tricky for you.
Yeah, it's like anything you do now, it feels like the Malay can just do better, right? And Tato already, he has the economy to fund it too. He's got the Navy advantage. Tato's just, he's ahead in every single category. I think this would have to come down to Tato making a big mistake to lose this one. And one of those mistakes would be not to just send it with the Trev numbers. Maybe just go for 1 and wait for bomber cannons. That could be a mistake. He's going to go for 4.
Perfect.
And also, Bracer helps your castle fire too.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect upgrade.
TC goes down at the left-hand side. Suddenly villagers really exposed. Yeah, some more roomies are coming in. They're slaughtering Karambit, but Tato simply shouldn't give him a fight.
Yeah, can you maybe even try and run to the right? It's so hard for me to think of ideas if you're Kingston. It was actually the perfect castle spot to place it on the hill. I probably would have placed it at the bottom of the hill next to the town center. And then the castle might have fallen already.
Tries to repair. How much stone does he have? 300 in the bank, a bit more at home, most likely. And Karambit numbers are rising. Does Tato stop at 4 traps? 4 should be enough against the castle.
Yeah, 4, and then chemistry is what I'd like to see. And obviously Tato needs to repair as well, and Kingston just kind of holding to this position with everything. The Karambits are going to dive through to hopefully snipe a Treb. I think most of the Karambits will die here, but that's a worthy sacrifice in Tato's eyes. Honestly,
he didn't kill the traps, he killed the Mangonel, which is so unimportant.
But he'll still take the castle. He'll still take the castle. I think in Tato's eyes, those Karambits weren't going to do anything else. That's what he needed. And Tato ties it up here 1-1, and a wonderful recovery from Tato. I'm sure he was maybe a little concerned after the first game, but like we said, we'd expect him to turn it around. And I got to say this as well. I thought it was a great game from Kingston. That was a really smooth game, but Tato used all the timings of the melee.
Yeah, that's just so sick. It feels like Dravidian should have the better economy, right? With like the better fishing ships, the extra wood. But Tato, sneaking that extra dock at the top, adding some more fishing ships, and basically full feudal age was 6 fishing ships against 4. Yeah, that's where Tato pulled ahead. Yeah,
and I think the relics, which we spoke of, were really important. And it's just so difficult when you focus on the water to find the positioning with your town centers. And essentially what happened for Kingston, he moved to the Vills, he found the gold, he said, okay, this is my TC spot. Didn't have a lot of time to think about where he could go. Maybe had he thought about that, could have moved over near the monastery, spotted the monastery, gone for his own monastery, transitioned the whole game from there. But it was pretty much just like a water battle with them both booming in the middle. And then once Tato noticed, dropped the castles. And I feel like the monks were just such a big key. It wasn't just the relics then. He needed the monk to threaten with redemption on the siege workshop, and then the siege couldn't push, and then he could get the castle as well.
Often we see people go for scouts in the middle as well. That could have paid out so nicely, right? It was like no TC for Tato and monks.
Yeah, true. Even just like 2 scouts, honestly.
Like kill a monk quite easily.
Like 2 scouts on patrol probably do a lot there because so many things are happening. But then you're also spending resources on other things. And it just, to me, it was such an intense game. I think the second someone tries to do anything but water, they probably just lose water. So it was tougher to justify than maybe some other migration games. So Kingston's turn now to choose the next map. He's got Fortress and Land Madness, 2 very different maps, all land focused, but that's what Outcrop was in game number 1. And I can't help but look at this and think his draft is very strong. He already won with the Hindustanis, and it felt like they were unbeatable at times. Now he has Bohemians for Fortress, which that civ can be unbeatable at times. And then you've also got Land Madness. He's got Saracens and Gurjaras there, maybe even Lithuanians. I mean, all of his home maps, at the very least, he's going to have very strong civs for.
Yeah. Feels like Lithuanians for Cosmon, unless he wants to make like a counter pick with Saracens against Persians, but I think Lithuanians just the safer choice. And Gurjaras, crazy on Land Madness, we've seen it multiple times. Tato will have the aggression there with Magyars, but then cavalry against good options from Gurjara. My big question mark is still the Tato approach on Fortress in case he picks Turks.
Yeah, I think it has to be Turks, right? Turks or Byzantines. I would say Magyars and Persians are definitely on other maps. Byzantines, maybe there's some matchups where I could see it, but I just don't think that's the play.
It's Bohemian, like every unit dies instantly. Like Cataphracts? Are they good against? I think even Cataphracts are not enough.
Cataphracts might be a little too expensive.
Yeah, you die to the timing, right?
Well, I guess it's got to be Turks. It's probably got to be Turks, and it is Turks. So 2 of the best gunpowder civilizations facing off against each other. And again, it is Kingston's choice now as we enter game number 3. It is regicide. Those kings need to stay alive. That's maybe a factor. If you think the Bohemians are so strong, maybe Tato's got to go try and find that king. But we saw yesterday with Hera playing as the Bohemians against Tato how terrifying the civ is if it gets to Halb and Hufnitze. What do the Turks have to focus on to beat that or to stop that here, Nilly?
Well, the thing is, bombard cannons, you mentioned it earlier, you have 1 more range, but you do less damage. The bombard towers are quite nice for you. Maybe that's a nice combination. And if we exclude that, Janissaries are good against Halberdiers, but completely die to the Hufnitze. So I think it has to be a play around CA.
Are there only 4 relics on this map?
Left-hand side corner. Very small. I already spotted it, and I was like, also like, should this be restarted?
This is an eye test.
Because this is like, there are 4 really fair relics. Yeah. This one is clearly in favor of Tato. But we didn't restart yesterday when there were 2 very favorable maps for Hera.
Yeah.
Both the Mountain and Red Side Fortress.
Yeah, I think it seems to me that on some of the maps, the relics are balanced almost like it would have been in like 2021. You know, not 2011, not 2001, but like 2021. I personally like a little bit more variance. I think that can be good. But occasionally you're going to see them positioned closer to one player. It doesn't really seem that crazy here. Honestly, I think that you could make very strong bets. Tato never even scouts the one in the left corner.
You have the king, you have a scout, right? So you should see a lot of the map. And yeah, Tristan, you are right. The build-up on stone.
The viewers didn't see it, but I pointed at the stone with a big smile and looked at Nilly like, give me the respect.
Stop talking. Show us to talk about the stone.
Yeah, so
Pix,
now
he's collecting how much? He collects 9 gold, right? Or does the full 10 trip?
Well, so let's think about this. If you sell 200 stone, how much gold do you bring in?
Sell 200 stone. It's 91 plus 89, I believe.
Okay, so what's the math on that? I don't know.
180.
Like 180. Okay, so you get 20.
Yeah, but why is he making another trip?
Well, you might need to get 30 actually in the event that the opponent sells. In the event you want to sell some wood. Wood's a different price.
70 for wood.
So sell 70 wood and you
Plus
sell
91.
100 stone.
And 161, so you need to collect 39. So if she finishes,
that's 40.
so we sell 100 wood and 100 stone.
Yep. And the blacksmith is cheap for the Bohemians, so you don't spend near as much wood there. You normally bank up some extra res. Kind of the funny thing in these scenarios is if both players went for the same build to incorporate selling some stone, it could completely screw the other player over.
Who's that faster? Yeah, correct.
Dave used to get really annoyed with me because I wouldn't tell him if I was selling stone, and obviously my builds are way cleaner than his, so I'm a few much faster, right? And so he'd go to sell, and he'd miss like 1 gold to go Castellation. Was low-key kind of satisfying, even though it hurt the team, but...
So now we can feel really smart if he sells 100 wood and 100 stone. Which order? I think he sells wood first because it's left side.
I think he sells stone first because stone is the priority of the build.
Isn't the... okay.
It's the priority of the build. You don't...
I'm team wood.
Okay, I'm
wood
team
first.
stone. Chat, pick a team.
King and Garrison voluntarily.
Boom, baby, let's go.
Why?
I'm in Kingston's head. All these little tricks, I'm loving it. And so when he played Bengalis, he didn't go for relics early, and he just went for TCs. And so now you've got 200 stone left over for 2 more TCs, but eventually a 4th TC as well. Now, I don't know if a 4th TC is necessarily as good here, because you might be worried about the imp timings, but that could be the logic. Honestly, he relies on the market so heavily, I think he may even sell stone again at some point. I think, though, even though I guessed the stone, and I'm happy about that, is it not better?
You were right, Tristan. Let's repeat that. Yeah, it was stone.
But isn't it actually better to have villagers on gold, to buy food, and to balance out your eco?
Yeah. That's maybe an argument for the old food price, right? We changed that some month ago, where it's now more expensive to buy yourself some food. Still, like the old Bohemian build-up was actually 4 to 6 on gold. And constantly keep on buying food because it's more efficient, because you need to collect wood, then build farms, and then collect food, and it's at the start more inefficient that way.
Would love to see Tato's scouting now, because he's actually added a stable. He'll want, like Kev, on the field to stop the relics, and he can see 4 of them. I doubt he'll look for that one anytime soon. But seeing, well, oh, that's Kingston, sorry. Yeah, so Tato saw 4. Kingston sees a couple of them. But Kingston's not going to be going for them at all.
I'm really confused here. Like, Tato is heavily focusing on the relics? Or is he just thinking, okay, I'm countering Bohemians? Because, like, this game is very unlikely to be decided by the relic count.
Well, Tato lost a game yesterday when his opponent had 5,000 gold.
But he would have lost if the opponent had 3,000 gold.
Yeah, true. Maybe. Well, you kind of jumped ahead of me here to the question I was going to ask you. I was just going to think, like, are relics even the decider here? I feel like how good your boom is and what happens in early Imperial Age is the decider.
Yeah, I also think it feels very timing-based.
Yeah.
This matchup.
And your point here is going relics is anti-timing. It's slowing down the time.
Janissaries. Is Tato playing? No, he plays 3CC.
He's going.
Tato's so heavily committing on army here.
Huh.
We'll be behind him. Boom.
Well, the thing that's surprising to me is it's so much army against 0 army. Like if he would have seen some indicator, like if his opponent had added additional scouts, then I like the gunpowder addition, or a couple more light cav. But we'll see. I mean, he's still going to have the 3 TCs, but he's very split focus, and also that will affect villager production in theory. If you're microing all these armies, it can take your focus away from placing farms and whatnot too.
First step is like 30 TC is delayed. Rule of thumb, you want to have 6 on food to have a TC running, and well, we are still 8 away from Tato.
Kingston,
3 TCs.
Kingston selling stone again. I think trying to get some gold income to maybe buy some food, even out the eco every now and then. Continues to sell stone actually, like a madman.
Well, kind of has to. Otherwise, the stone is just floating, right?
Do you like a 4th town center here if you're Kingston?
I said we are thinking about timings here, right? And if we think, okay, Tato is having a lot of map control, that might indicate maybe forward castle. I personally would play 3 TC.
This is what I think would be absolutely insane in this position. You use 3 Hussite wagons for a little bit of forward map control.
Yeah.
Maybe even just like the siege workshop there.
Yeah.
To start to produce those cannons. Eventually build up towards a castle around that area. But I'm just thinking about what's on the field. Even a couple Hussite wagons right now might actually be really good. Light cav and Janissaries and monks. It's if you're going to counter that, you need to add siege or you need to get redemption on monks, which is pretty costly for Tato.
Yeah, yesterday we've seen that Tato tried to clear it up with some light cav play, but that was relatively costly. Scout sees the Janissaries now. Even loom for Tato.
That was the least accurate shot I've ever seen in my life. I don't know. Did someone bend the barrel of his gun? Like, that scout's moving out. I like the patience here from Kingston. We're talking a lot about other things, but that scout could have easily died, and he's looking for monks right now.
And that will be the forward siege workshop. Could be scouted. Yesterday that was denied for Tato, and that's why he actually loomed there.
Yeah.
Lightcap's still around.
Does he know the king? He's obviously not looking for the king, but does he know that? Okay. He sees the TC is there. Yeah.
I can't go for the king.
Nearly, I love how when there's an intense moment, you feel the need to whisper, and that's not even at lands. That's even if we're casting at home. Yeah. The more hype or intense a moment is, the quieter you get. Yeah, well, have you noticed that?
The intensity. Yourself? Yeah, I was told before. Yeah. That was Noble Apartment Cup. I did that as well, and Hera actually was like, okay, something important. Like he didn't watch the game, but heard me whisper. Then he watched the game because he knew, okay, something important had to happen.
Is that how it is in your personal life as well? Like if you're like when you get married someday, you're gonna like whisper at the altar because it's such an important moment.
You're the love of my life.
It's like you're ashamed. She's like, say it louder. Oh my God. Well, the siege workshop I think has been spotted.
Oh, that's so good.
By the villager there.
Hallelujah.
And Kingston should know it will turn into some type of attack. Now I don't know if he can fully deny it. There's a Hussite wagon on the way. That's at 80%. Tato will bring over some army. That'll go up. That'll go up. But I think having a warning of that is pretty nice.
Yeah, certainly. And the villagers pushed away. Can't repair in the future, right?
Also, a relic is coming in for Kingston. He's actually getting a relic right now. Somehow, on the side of the map, or the middle of the map, sorry.
Should not have happened.
He will snipe a villager, so they trade villager kills. He'll add his own siege workshop, and look how tanky those Hussite wagons are against the Janissaries.
Yeah, what armor is that? Like 8 or 10 or something? 7 pierce armor. Pretty mad.
Yeah, and they're awkward to deal with. It does feel like, though, the Janissaries are doing enough damage where it's okay. I think the worry for me is the Hussite wagon kills them faster when they get hits, but I think there's a range difference, right? I think it's 6 range for the wagon, and it's 7 for the Janissary. Yeah.
That's the only way how Tato can actually come out ahead here, if he out-micros that. But again, we had 8 range on the Janissaries once. Now it's only 7, so Magnotes are better against them now.
Yeah. The thing I like about this from Tato is this is now a distraction that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And so this gives Tato, this turns it into a game where Kingston's on the defensive and Kingston's playing reactive. And it felt, at least with the boom, that Kingston was playing better for the timings.
Yeah.
And now this takes away from that.
Yeah, true. I don't like that he's adding farms here. And why is he that heavily on stone? He doesn't want to build a second castle there, does he?
Well, I think he wants that castle forward. Like the castle forward might have been the play. Maybe you don't want to push Turks. Maybe you want to turtle up a little bit, but it feels like the middle of the map is kind of
scout
key.
the relic at the left-hand side? He can't, right? Because the monk is moving out there.
Tato didn't either.
No idea.
Yeah. So Kingston's going to assume Tato will have 4 relics.
And Tato will have to assume Kingston got 2.
This is actually a pretty crazy push right now.
That's
Also, Janissaries, not only due to the range, but just the way their attack works, they do way more damage against enemy mangonels than the wagons do.
Yeah.
So it's doable here for Tato to use this composition and just kill anything that comes his way.
HP on that CC should be around like 800. Now there's some repairs coming in, and the wagons are rolling over.
Yeah, and this is great for Tato. He's cooking behind it. He should have the relic advantage. This is very difficult for Kingston, who tasted victory in the first game. For those that missed it, it was not luck, it was not fortune, it was insane overall play. Went to Imp. Crazy game, definitely worth a rewatch. That's what I mean. The Janissaries can snipe the siege so quickly, and then the wagons, they're kind of vulnerable against the siege, and they can't do the same. Tato micros again. He misses some volleys there, but he takes out the mangonels.
Oh, but lots of HP lost. No monks around for Tato to heal. No villagers around for the mangonels to be repaired.
Yeah, true. Tato, using this time, will expand on the more town centers behind this. And hops out with another mangonel. That should go down. Nice micro there from Kingston. Really nice micro. I probably jinxed him here because his wagons are all split up here, and it's such an awkward position, and he's trying to micro. He knows that one is weak in there. He wants the kill on it.
Interesting that Kingston's actually going aggressively with so much of his army there. Tries to intercept and does a good job.
Yeah. Remember, Kingston has the villager lead.
Villagers? What are they? Like, how much is the villager lead?
I mean, life as a villager is kind of hard. They've been working nonstop. The
mangonels are shooting at your head, yeah?
The economy efficiency is great for the economy, not so much for the villagers. So they just said, never mind.
Double gold blocked at the right-hand side. Still, obviously, we have a lot on our starting gold, but Tato will have some nice vision, and that's a natural 4th TC spot. So
Tato's thinking about his outside gold. He's now thinking about his opponent's outside gold. There's a very good chance Kingston will run out there with a lot of vills soon.
Mangonel micro at the top.
This is a crazy attack from Tato. Like, it's still here. It still hasn't been dealt with.
And that's the 3 out of the initial 5 Janissaries.
Yeah. So good. So patient from Tato. I love it. All set up play for the late game. Also, he's kind of stopping his opponent from walling up and playing secure. And so this is now a raidable area in the later stages for Hussar, which would be perfect for Tato.
Forced bad siege workshops in the back as well.
Yeah.
So much of a reaction.
And there you go. Villagers headed over to the gold. I think Kingston just clicked the units because he can't be bothered. That will come with losses, but might end up killing those units. If Tato could micro that, it'd be even better, but he's still focused here. And the micro is great from both. But Tato's getting some good eco upgrades right now. He's about to click to the Imperial Age. Kingston himself clicks up to Imp, and here we have Tato's point of view with the push. The attack rounds.
Missed.
He does miss. He's got this army to head back to the golds. Uses the market, clicks up to Imp. His eco's actually kind of a mess right now. And he looked away from the fight for a while, so I'm wondering how much he actually has remaining. He lost everything.
Now adds some more stables, wants to right the side. 103 villages against 115. Kingston, that's no TC at the right-hand side. Those Janissaries could find some kills.
Yeah, but I think with 2 wagons, maybe he's okay. But Tato's focus is clear now. The left side is open. The right side is exposed. His opponent has had no time to really think properly. So I think Tato's just going to play full Hussar here.
Outpost control on the side for Kingston, and those Janissaries are not finding the damage.
Can you imagine if these wagons were a little bit faster? I think all of Castle Age would have been dominated by Kingston.
Only there was an upgrade for them to move fast.
and if only that upgrade was available in...
building that you already have.
Is it Castle Age or Imp, though? I forget.
Castle Age.
How much is it?
I think 300. It's not that expensive.
Probably not worth it in the mid stages, though.
Right?
Nilly is actually looking this up.
AoE2 tech tree. Clicking Bohemians.
He's getting it now.
Protected.
He's getting it now.
Scrolling to the castle. 300, 300!
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, I always forget if that's a Castle Age or Imperial Age technology. Obviously, you see that one way more than Hussite reforms, but yeah, that could have maybe been useful there for Kingston. Look at this castle. He knows he won't have the relic count. He thinks Tato's going to have 4, and he's getting chemistry already, but he didn't click chemistry in Castle Age. Well, very deep in the Castle Age, so he still has to wait almost a full chemistry time to get access to Bomb Arcana.
Didn't have the university there. A bit of a misstep, but I think it's mainly like even 2 Bomb Cannons here couldn't give him too much of an aggression.
The thing I'll say is, same thing happened to Hera, didn't end up mattering with the Bohemians. He was very late with chemistry. Still, if you get to Hufnitze and the late game options, the Bohemians, they can dominate. This is full commitment to Hussite wagons from Kingston, isn't it? He's still producing.
I think Elite Janissaries should even be better, right? I think they have 22 attack and Elite Hussite wagon, like maybe 10 pierce armor. The damage output should be reasonable. Oh, but they upgrade in HP as well.
What's the is there a range increase for the wagon when they get?
I think they stay at 6. They stay at 6.
So if they stay at 6 and the Elite Janissaries at 8, obviously there's a difference in cost. I think it's a bit easier to spend wood and gold. But yeah, maybe the Janissaries are decent in combination with a couple bombard
also
cannons.
Also the upgrade 160 HP to then 230. And Elite Hufnitze already.
Wow.
That's an early upgrade.
Random Hussar runs through the open gate. Bro, didn't you see the sign? This is for red villagers only. That would be really confusing for Kingston.
Did you see the sign?
There's supposed to be a sign.
There should be, yeah.
Villagers are fighting on the sides, and now artillery on the way for Tato. So Hufnitze, the better cannon, but the bombard cannons for the Turks will have 14 range. And 14 range against 6 range.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, wagons, like the wagons are going to be a liability, honestly.
And I think Tato has one of the best bombard cannon micros in the game. He's just so active, constantly microing, constantly moving around, always has them on a group. I think in the long run, I would be surprised if Kingston takes the better trades there.
Hufnitze is 50 seconds away, and
not in that one.
It's not. I know it's not in that one, but that one is right behind it.
Yeah. And that's a slow upgrade, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it would be absolutely horrible. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, it seems like it. Tato, he needs to add more farmers. 42 feels okay, but if he wants to go full Janissaries, Hussars, I might just see 70.
I love Tato's position for a lot of different reasons, but it gets so much more difficult for him if Kingston does the right things and walls up before those Hussar raids come in. And that right side is being stonewalled. That's so good. And we'll get to see the cannon micro here. And clearly pretty good for Kingston as well.
Oh, yeah. And now we can don't need to focus on that. 13 range against 14, and that 1 range can be enough. And we have more HP on the bombard cannons for Turks as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you just inherently get more HP.
Uh-oh. Is that maybe an overboom coming up for Kingston? 155 villagers.
Well, he is going to be pop capped now, so he won't really get many more. This should give him time to bank up some res, and he wants to stonewall this whole freaking map right now. This is a crazy game. Remember, this is Kingston's home map. Kingston the big underdog. But the big storyline is whoever loses this is out. They will not play another game. Not this game, sorry, the series. But it's been an intense best of 5 so far. If you didn't know the storylines, you'd say 2 very even players so far in this series.
Yeah, well, on this day, they are.
Yeah.
They absolutely are.
Yep.
Kingston performing really well. That will be some nice aggression. Tato wants to pressure those 2 golds that he scouted earlier.
I think Kingston has a decision to make right now. He could just push Tato's castle. Like, Tato's castle is right there on the front. Not that one. That there. Like, there. That castle's right next to it. But he's chasing this down. He's really worried about this. So, lovely play from Tato. Kingston about to complete fortified wall. And he just doesn't want Hussars flooding into his eco. And he will chase Tato down. It is still open there, but this should stop any raids from getting out of hand.
Just imagine Hufnitze spawning on the other side, right?
Boom!
But gets the kill in reverse.
And Tato gets a kill from the other side as well, but he traded off a bombard cannon. So a lot of these cannons have gone down.
This is dodgeball. This is Tato's dream.
Yeah, there's still a hole on the walls for Kingston on the left, but he's close to completing it.
God, do I love fortified walls.
Fortified wall.
Upgrade.
It's a tech that so many players don't get.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It is such an important technology. Dude, how many big names in this building right now don't even build the stone walls in the first place?
Yeah.
Right? It's a critical thing. I love it from Kingston, but now we've got a lot to focus on for him because he needs to try and push Tato. He also has to defend these walls, and this little raid from Tato has opened up the game. And, well, not fully. There's still a lot of walls, but it's changed what's happening on the front.
More HP for the CA is now being upgraded, and Tato is switching into CA. So no Elite in the series. He will stay at this amount.
Okay.
It's surprising to me because the Hazard wagons are now becoming better.
Well, that's true, but maybe it's arrived to a game state where Hussite wagons don't make sense for Kingston. So Kingston's not going to focus on them. He's not going to get upgrades on them, and he's going to play primarily hand cannon or halb or something. I still feel like Kingston needs to try his best to push that castle. Like, that's the best opportunity for him.
Would be so easy, right? Just send 2 of Nietzsche there and see what happens. 4k gold over here. Also,
I still think there's an open wall on the very left. I know there's a lot to look at right now, but it's clear that Kingston is struggling to keep up with this. That is still open. Units can still run through. Units have run through. Tato now getting pushed on the castle, though.
Tato is having enough army, though. Sends this in. This is only some hand cannoneers. Halberdiers are trying to help out some buildings to block this one off. Tato is going for the kill.
Yep, halbs are here, though. Halbs are here. I think this is somewhat okay for Kingston. He still has that army on the right side, but he could push this castle down. That's such an important area of his base, though. That's where both of his golds are, and Tato knows it. Tato loses his castle, or excuse me, it's still up, I think. And the cannon micro needs to be on point. Pretty good from Tato. He's using his range advantage here. He gets another snipe, and Kingston just cannot push that castle right now. Still no answer to the Hussars in his eco and to the big cannon army coming through.
Funny thing, now that the relic spawned on the left-hand side, we have Tato thinking Kingston has 2 relics, Kingston thinking Tato has 4 relics, which might incentivize both players.
Oh my god, a huge shot from Kingston! And Kingston this is just no better chance now. There's no better chance to push.
Let's move in. Bombard cannon there. Tato dodges that one at least.
Crazy, man. Crazy. And Tato's Cav Archers, they'll struggle against the Hoofneats as well. He will have mobility. He is banking gold. But just when it looked like Tato was in the better position, things turn around ever so slightly. Still very close.
And to my point, with the relic situation, both players might be playing a bit more aggressively than they normally would.
Yeah, that's fair. This is kind of funny. I mean, it's not funny for Kingston. And Tato's gotten crazy values. Tato's still getting pushed on the front side.
Some people might be a bit confused. Why is he taking with villagers? Well, Bohemians with their upgrades, they have more HP and more speed on those villagers.
Yeah, and he just needed a little bit of time to think about everything else. It's so easy to look at one fight and say, well, what is he doing? I would never lose that cannon. First off, you probably would. Second, he's looking at the other side, and that's exactly what happened with Tato there.
Oh man, crazy. And well, still microing. That TC should go down pretty quickly.
Yeah. And we'll prepare it, I suppose. We'll see a player POV here. And this is just the replay of the shot.
Bomb.
It's a shame we don't have Kingston's face. Maybe he was like,
bomb.
Maybe he was making some faces there when he got that shot. You can see how awkward that is for him, though. Yeah. And we're obviously back to where we're at right now. It feels like Tato needs to hold the front of his base. His Hussars and his Bombard Cannon will play a role in that. He'll clear up the Hoofnitze. The Cav Archers then should be pretty strong here. And he still has that army on the right side. Still not dealt with. What an absolute mess for Kingston.
How is he not sending some army in there? And, oh, God.
Wow, he calls it. Wow, crazy. Tato wins 2 straight, up 2-1, and importantly takes the win on Kingston's home map.
Pop 180 with like 60% map control, and Kingston resigns.
Yeah, I don't like that.
This might be the, okay, I have only 1 relic against 4 mindset, plus I'm losing the gold, but can't he just send like 20 elite skirms and clear up the Janissaries?
I think we need to bring ACCM and Yo in here so we can get their thoughts, because they probably won't resign until they're down to 80 pop in that situation, right? Do I think Tato's still going to win that game? Probably, because the issue and the reasoning behind Kingston resigning there is because he just can't kill that army on the right side.
But why can't he? He was producing elite skirmishers. Just send in like 30 elite skirms and you will deal with that.
He didn't have a good queue. I was looking at his res bank. His res bank was not good at all.
Like 40 idols on the gold.
40 idols on the gold. Like his food count wasn't as good. I think it would have been difficult. Realistically, if he does play on, the skirms maybe eventually deal with that, but then he loses everything on the front. He was about to lose everything on the front to 20 CA because he had hand cannons and halbs there. So I think he loses a lot. But what a great game from Tato. I really, like, you see how the game finishes, and you think, well, it's because of the side raid through the walls and whatnot. But no, like, I think it was what really opened up that game was the Siege Workshop and the Janissaries. Yep. He made way more gunpowder than you and I were expecting in Castle Age, and the Siege presence was huge. I think if he just straight booms, he maybe loses map control to wagons. It's very easy for Kingston to focus in one spot, and Kingston maybe has the advantage there.
Yeah. Also, the gunpowder was doing more damage than we thought, right?
True.
But nice snipes against the mangonels, was doing reasonable damage against the wagons as well.
Yeah.
I kind of want to ask Tato there if, like, did he feel like a normal standard game would be tough for him?
Yeah,
and that's why he felt like he had to push, because 30C was so late, right? He really wanted to go for map control, maybe a bit like PTSD from yesterday, where Hera picked the relics so much faster.
Yeah, could have been that. Yeah, I mean, certainly something to ask if he wins the series, right? But Kingston's got another home map to work with, and we will probably see that now as he looks to even up the series. I'd love to see that again. I'd love to see the draft. I think there's no big questions on this map, Land Madness, if that is what we see. I think Gurjaras have been seen a lot, Saracens as well. They're different in play style, but I like them both. The kicker here to remember is if Tato loses this game and it goes to Coast to Mountain, it will be what we feel is maybe the #1 civilization on the map in Persians, Tato's #1 pick. So odds are very good for Tato right now with that in mind.
Yeah. And then we think, okay, is it Lithuanians? We've seen them yesterday against Persian, the best game of the tournament, most likely, against Tato. Or is it a counter pick with Saracens there? And he tries to make something happen with camels, but the start is just so much slower.
Start is rough.
Any eco advantages till maybe a bit of market play, which isn't that common on this map.
Is there a chance that both Kingston and Tato go for starting Barracks Militia and no dock against each other?
Persians?
Because Tato did it with Lithuanians. Persians, it should be somewhat doable as well, right? I think there's the only 2 civs. I remember 4v4 tournament.
Battle of Africa Finals.
Battle of Africa
Finals. I wanted
Finals.
to say the same thing on step.
And it was like the first time that we'd ever seen something like that, and it was Tato with Persians, right?
And that was a moment where Persians were not that great. And I think in like a 4v4 draft, like best of 7 or something, the prioritization was crazy high. I think they picked it like 3rd or 4th. And everyone's like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
and then he dominated that game. Yeah.
That's one for the OGs right there. That was a long time ago, but that was a great finish.
Yeah. Also, great video for a sellout. Viper actually analyzed that whole set afterwards. And actually shared all his thoughts. And it was like a post-series analysis, like 1.5 hours. I watched that one train ride once.
Okay.
Was beautiful.
Okay, cool. I might go back and watch that at some point. I go back, I watch the old ones, and I just remember it's nostalgic graphics, but I am also kind of like, how did we play this so much? Like, it's hard to go back to the old graphics for me. I think, if anything, the classic sounds pull me in a little bit more, you know? I know some players, I think like Slam, I think another player, Andre, I think they play with the classic sounds.
Oh, really?
There's quite a few pro players who do, actually. But, yeah, we're expecting Land Madness here. What approach is better for Kingston as a player? He's got Gurjaras, which is your more standard scout opening approach. You have Saracens.
Gurjaras can play archers as well.
True.
Right? Getting all the food through the mill, archers into scouts.
Yeah, that's fair. And then Saracens, you know, I was thinking Saracens is better for him because we've seen a consistent theme of him using the market, and he loves to play archers.
Crossbow timing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. But prioritization-wise, he picked Gurjara so much faster. And he saw the early Magyar pick on Tato's side.
Yeah, true.
So why pick Gurjaras that early if you don't feel like, okay, that's what I want to play against Magyars?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I guess it's good to have the option here. You know, Tato, he can think about this pretty clearly. I think with Magyars, you can always open scouts and be happy. You just kind of transition from there. But, yeah, on paper, if we're talking about purely like the tech tree, Tato may be a little bit out-civved against Gurjaras and Saracens.
Yeah, well, kind of, right? It is tricky. I would say it's kind of even because like your opening is so much faster, and then you have the option like still Halberdiers against the Cav and heavy CA are just really nice.
Yeah.
I think on Arabia, maybe Gujaras might be a bit better. And Saracens might have slight advantages, but on like the super open map, and it's not unlikely that we have like 70 cavalry in Castle Age, I don't mind Maggie RCA.
Okay, we'll see. I'm also very curious. We say very open map.
What?
Maybe some potentials for walls for one player over the other. Look at the amount of wood Tato has.
I don't care about the amount. Look at the Civ.
Oh. Tato's Byzantines. But look at how much wood he has, Nilly. He's got a lot of wood. He's got 3 options to take wood, and Kingston has 1 option to take wood, which is what I thought you were reacting to.
Spawn? I think we have the admins there because that looks like really fortunate map for Tato for sure.
It's a weird one, right? Because there's no like
safe goals behind that.
Yeah. It's a weird one. Like, this has happened before.
Yeah.
It's not a bug per se, but it does fall into the category of an unintended generation.
Mm-hmm. And we have admins around sitting one room next to it, and they will look through the robots, and they will look through the map scripts and like, okay, how much intended is that? How do we want to play this one out? I think a really good spot there for Tato.
Okay, so Byzantines, not Magyars. Typically, we're expecting them more the counterplay. They tend to play spears and skirms.
Yeah, true.
Do Gurjaras have some issues thinking about how to manage this now? Because you're normally expecting to be up against knights or cav archers, and you can just make camels and Shravamshas and be happy.
Yeah.
Now, there might be a little bit of head scratching long term here for the Gurjaras.
Yeah, maybe it's just scout skirm and trying to play something that we see every day in the week, starting 2 a.m. European time, MBL against Hard. One player plays spear skirm, the other one scout skirm.
Yeah.
And then most of the time the player with the better micro comes out ahead, and Kingston has been looking pretty sharp.
Yeah, and also Gurjaras have the edge with the early lead. They receive that extra food income with the sheep inside the mill. There's also some nice transitions you can do economically with that, on top of the deer that's been pushed in already. So I think the timing should be better for him. Tato's going to recognize this. I think I saw this matchup like 4 weeks ago, okay? And it was very clear to me in mid-castle, this becomes very awkward for the Gurjaras. And in that case, the Gurjara player actually won Nilly because their second TC was on a stone, and they actively mined stone, building up into chakrams as quickly as possible.
And we just get the confirmation from the admins that game was not bugged by the rules, but obviously we're here to play competitively.
Yeah.
And that map for Tato was just so much better. He had so much more wood. That's like natural walls for him. He had safe goals behind there. While on the other side, Kingston, like 3 wood lines very far out.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Most likely in Castle Age, Tato would have taken massive advantages there. And we are here to enjoy beautiful Age of Empires, not map scripting competitions.
Yes, and I'm sure admins are now fingers crossed that the next one's not somewhat subjective as well, but I think it's a good move. More time for both players to think about it, but to continue my point, the stone mining might be key here. Like getting to Chakram, getting to your unique unit, because it's just an awkward game if you get up against camels and skirms. You have the better camels, but it's super easy for Byzantines to transition into any counters long term.
Pikemen, Halberdiers are cheaper then as well, right? Camels, you can't really get the aggression. The thing is, what's the answer then? Like Arbalest against the Chakrams? Like Cataphracts?
I think
shouldn't
the fact that you even said Arbalest with a lot of question in your voice is the reason why it might actually be the play, right? Just the fact that it makes him think, what do I do against this?
CA should be good, but
hand cannons, Arbalest, yep. But if you go hand cannons, Arbalest, then it opens up opportunities for the Shravamsha, right? So like that's kind of the key for me. On the note of the Shravamsha, the unit does a terrible time if it's fighting other units in open field, in my opinion. Camels, cav archers, even like mass crossbow. I think once that dodge is gone, they struggle. But if you prevent the opponent from walling, then things are a bit different. And this map is designed to prevent walling. Welcome into game number 4. And just to repeat here, this is actually a restart They knew the Civ matchup. They restarted after 4 minutes of the other one because we had some wood issues for one player. This is more along the lines of what you want to see. Multiple wood line options for both players. But again, that rocky terrain, you cannot wall on. So a full wall is very difficult on Land Madness.
I think the restart is good for Kingston, right? Because we were expecting Magias against Gojaras, and he was expecting Magias against Gojaras, right?
Okay.
And now he got another 2-3 minutes to reset, to think about the matchup, and maybe come up with better answers than he would have been forced to make on the fly.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, a little bit more time to think about it. I don't think it'll change his build at all. I think he's going to do the exact same thing there. I still think opening scouts is maybe a good play. I don't think it'll change Tato's build or anything either. But I want to point out an area of the map here. The middle. It's very early and preemptive. But if you look about how the units are going to have to move, especially with the positioning of one of the wood lines, like you look at that middle relic vodka for me, you know, I am being the worst. But look at all the golds and stones and hills, and look at the accessibility to the other players' bases long term. I feel like whoever controls the middle of the map is going to have such huge success here.
And it's tough to loop around at the right side, right? Because there's a longer wood line there connected the two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Very awkward. Yeah. So a lot of that activity might funnel through the middle.
Yeah, and it's easier for Kingston to get there, right? Tato has a bit of a blockage there with the wood line in front of his base. Now,
when you're trying to scout the opponent, it's actually a bit harder to find the opponent here because you're normally looking for gold, berries. Obviously, you're looking for buildings, but the way the resources are designed is it's just spread out everywhere. So you can't just find the berry bush and find your opponent or find a 3-tile stone and find the opponent. That's spread out. So we're going to see the players delay their scouting, I think, because of that, and also because the matchup pretty much tells us what the players are probably going to do. Mm-hmm. And Kingston just pushing in his last deer here.
And another fact, we only have one boar.
Yep.
On Land Madness. So we want to push a bit more deer. Therefore, as you said, scouting a bit later will be a bit weirder. But that's why we, most of the time, also, in addition to the long distance and tough walls, most of the time, go for scouts.
What's your thoughts on playing Gurjaras in early feudal now with the sheep?
I'm a fan of keeping 4 sheep in there. Like
okay.
Having at the start like 6 and then take some out and it feels like 4. I'm getting some food. Obviously, more sheep in the mill, the more food you get, but it's not linear.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad to hear you say that. And also, speaking of the hill, Tato just had a barracks foundation placed directly on the hill.
Tristan, they're blue dots.
He's going forward.
Maybe he heard you.
He's going forward on the hill.
To control the middle.
I mean, against Byzantines, love to do this.
And it's tough if you open stable. Stable is bad against spear scum aggression. Camel.
Well, did he see the deer move? Is he suspicious? There's the villager.
No, he's just there to push. He's just there to push. He didn't get suspicious at all. It was really fortunate for Kingston.
I'm going to give him credit, but I think you're right.
Well, that's good. And now Kingston should play archery range instead of stable.
Yep, I would agree with you there. That's what most people tend to do, and he'll do it.
Clever.
Also can get a nice hit or two on this scout. Watch this camel scout. It's going to eat that scout. Look at this damage. Yep. Boom. Crazy damage. Should get a second hit in there. That's a nice start. And Tato will start to make the spears here. But Tato looking to make this pretty messy. And he's going to place his range in an interesting location. The pathing could be kind of awkward if he's sending units from those buildings and trying to group up on either side.
True. He kind of needs to shift-click his waypoint from the barracks.
Maybe.
What? Kingston is pulling 2 villagers against this?
So,
why 2? If you want to attack, you have to pull 4. Oh, that's why he's adding 2.
Yep, he's adding 2. 2 by 2 to the archer range goes Kingston. Now, Kingston's got an issue, too, because he's not bringing his skirms around, and it's pathing on the other side of this wood line. And now the scout is there, too. So, messy moments. If Kingston makes big mistakes and loses, he is out of the tournament. He needs to win this game on his home map. It will lose the skirmisher, so not the best start there. And I think Tato overall is going to be very happy with this. This is making messy for Kingston. He hasn't lost any of his villagers, and he doesn't have as many idle villagers running around either.
But villagers are really low HP. 2-0 KD. Tato in some problems. Needs to quick wall those villagers potentially.
I would pay attention to the idle TC time here, and are the players actively building houses as well? Tato's going to have idle TC time, I think, as he saves that villager because he needs some houses right now. There's a lot of focus on the micro. Tato loses the villager behind the walls to the skirmishers. There's another villager that's weak here. Kingston's going to kill another. Is he going to kill all of them?
Looks like it. Only 3. That's why you pull 4 villagers, because you should be winning this fight. This is a nice opening here for Kingston. And Tato is struggling quite a bit. Yeah,
Tato's scout is so weak. Tato's spearmen are going down. This whole forward is just completely collapsing here for Tato. Beautiful job from Kingston to manage it nearly. Like I said, he's also done a great job producing vills behind all of this. It's still going to be an absolute nightmare because Tato can still produce out of the buildings.
Oh, Scout didn't get the hits in. 3 skirmishes against 2. Maybe gets down to 1.
And now, do you wall up the archery range?
It is tricky, right? Because there's already the palisade. You need to kill the palisade first, and then you can wall it in if you decide to.
It is tricky, but I think life is much trickier if you don't wall it in. So I would say maybe it's worth it here.
The walls are just so big. You need to wall around the house right now.
True.
Plus, I think Tato could have maybe even built it next to the stone so that you can't wall in this area.
Honestly, that's big brain right there. Yeah, that's really smart. I think... I'm not sure. I can't really tell. It's kind of inconsistent sometimes, and we can't check his casters, but maybe that's why Kingston isn't able to do so, or just won't try. Double range for Kingston. It's going into a skirmore, which could benefit both long-term when they transition into cheap camels. Byzantines have the cheap camels anyways. Gurjaris just have the stronger camels. But Tato's still fine. I mean, he's still applying pressure. It's much easier for him in a skirmore than it is for Kingston.
Yeah, he won't mind that at all. It's floating quite a lot of wood. Wouldn't be surprised to see a blacksmith pretty soon. Maybe even an earlier fletching timing than Kingston.
What about scouts?
Well, you can't afford that yet.
Yeah.
It's just so tricky. Because, like, adding 2 scouts now, you need to snipe all the spearmen that then are coming up, right? I think you need the economy to make...
multiple.
Like, 5 scouts.
Yep.
Switch.
Yep. Oh, Kingston.
That should never be out there.
And she's going to go home. So, nice shot from Kingston. He does have some idle TC time rising up now. And just a reminder just how consistent you have to be, right? It was such a good opening, and games can fall apart on you so quickly. Tato's got to be really happy with the control. I know he's lost the vills, but when you're on top of your opponent like this, you feel that control as a player, and it boosts your confidence.
Yeah. And he keeps his CC running better than Kingston could, right? Oh, and that's it, Will.
Was she weak?
I think she might have been the one from before, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she was weak. There's probably a couple weak ones around.
There was some damage earlier. Tato now. Let's compare the farm count pretty soon. Feels like Kingston is doing a good job.
Yeah, he's doing a good job, but Tato's farms aren't idled at all. And Tato, he hasn't had to build a second range here. Tato's skirmishers are much cheaper. I don't know how many resources he saved exactly.
Stable.
But it's definitely adding up a little bit, and stable from Kingston. A couple scouts here could clear up the skirms, but the key for Tato is getting spearmen over to those skirmishers. He needs to know about this.
I think that's stable for Tato as well, right? Did he build one?
I think it is, yep.
Will be later, though. And those skirmishers are quite out of position there.
The barracks is going to be out of position for Tato, though. It's really far away from the skirmishers. Do you wait if you're Kingston until you get multiple scouts, or do you move out with just one to get as many hits as possible?
I'd like to wait for 2.
Okay. I think if I was in his position right now, having traveled so far physically to get here, the moment, I might just want to send 1. You know, just to get some answer as quickly as possible.
I think like 1 can get micro down by like 6-7 skirms. Okay, this is the way I could see 1. Yeah, if you have enough skirmishers.
It's interesting he comes to this group actually, because this is the group I expected to be safe for Spearman. But if he's now the other group can be killed by the next scout.
Exactly. Great move by Kingston.
That's
really
huge.
Good move.
That's crazy priority, right?
Yeah.
It's not immediately obvious, and now the Spearmen from Tato are not going to be enough necessarily. And then the other group as well is trying to be free. Maybe that will be free, but Kingston really stabilizing nicely. Tato's waiting with his scouts.
That should be, man. I think he thought he could help out a bit.
Yeah, that little line of trees connecting the wood lines hurts Tato. Now there's the tiger there. And what a turnaround here from Kingston. That's like 7 or 8 straight kills on like skirms.
2011 KD now, and the skirm number is high enough for Kingston. He won't die to those scouts now.
Yeah, Tiger's still attacking Tato, which is just gonna add so many annoying problems for him. There's some weak units in there. It's time to feast for the Tiger. And it's a scout war now. And I think we might see a whole lot more scout production for both of them. It's really close right now. Neither player will be able to stop production. Tiger's going at it. And the crowd, I think, cheered for the Tiger. I appreciate you guys. And isn't Tato, don't people call Tato the Tiger?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, they might be cheering for him too.
Go Tiger.
I think Bloodlines would be a big upgrade to get here. Not right now, but think about the difference in the Scout War.
Yeah,
one player can't get Bloodlines.
Yeah, and Tato still doesn't have a Blacksmith, right? Double, stable. Might build one at the top here now, exactly. But doesn't have the economy. And 4 on gold now. I don't see Tato building a gold unit anytime soon.
Is Tato building a... No, he's making the Spearman from here. Sorry. I was just wondering if Tato would even consider a defensive barracks. Certainly at some point you might need one because your barracks on the front is a liability, but that's a big investment.
Do we need towers here if we're Tato? It just feels so weird. Like the map is so incredibly open. He's so far behind the military. 6-22 right now.
Land Madness of old, like when people weren't playing quite as clean, you might be able to justify 2 vills on stone and just a couple towers around the map. And this is pretty messy. We've got the big stage. We've got an amazing moment here in the losers bracket. As both players will know, they have to win today or they are out. I wouldn't mind it. A couple towers around. It really could free up potential aggression, and you don't have to stay as defensive with your units at home.
What a great addition. The only civilization that can build that. And that's mobility and a great counter. Something you rarely have to scouts.
Stone sold for Kingston yet again. He continues to do that, and I think he really should recognize that Tato's on double stable. That's a lot of scouts from Tato. He got forging and not armor, though, so the skirmishers are actually contributing a decent amount. Still, there's more numbers for Tato. And that's, oh my goodness, that's so many skirmishers. But the Camel Scouts are going to be here soon.
Yeah, I think 1 Camel Scout will be enough to chase this away.
Wow.
Great play by Kingston.
What's the movement difference now between the Scout and the...
155, 145.
Okay, so there's a slight speed difference for the Scout. So no real worries there. Tato's going to go full feudal here. We see armor now. We still see more Scouts. Can he break Kingston before Kingston makes it to Castle Age? If Kingston makes it to Castle Age with camels and skirms, Tato's going to be completely dead.
Tato sold the stone as well. He's trying to get to Castle Age now himself. Saw the prices, so he knows, okay, well, you're already thinking about Castle Age.
I think Kingston just has to play defense now, right? Like, I think any form of offense has got to be completely out of your mind. He isn't walled there. Of course, it's hard to wall on the map. The scouts are going to be through. 1 scout goes down, but it's traded for a villager kill. That should be at least 1 more villager kill, and it is. But Kingston's still here. Kingston's still up to Castle Age. Tato still hasn't clicked yet.
How did Tato collect more resources?
I think there's just been greater efficiency, honestly.
Okay.
Like, that's got to be part of it. Let's even just check the lumber camp for Kingston. Is that not really... Okay, he just built a new one, so yeah, maybe it's fine. But, like, I think Tato had more res collected the whole game. Even after he killed the 3 villagers, I think he had.
Is that stable? He's going full camel. He's going crazy there.
Wow.
But can he survive?
I would just be feeling, if I'm Kingston, you have to constantly be doing damage. That's your feeling usually as a player. And he might be out of position if he thinks that way. Those camels, not enough for that many scouts. So maybe the Camel Scouts aren't actually that good right now.
Yeah, they're obviously way better.
He doesn't have bloodlines. He doesn't have armor, though. So that's part of it.
Yeah. The attack is the least important of the upgrades.
Yep. Yeah, really surprising. We didn't see armor as a priority.
Tato's adding more scouts. Wants to keep up the aggression.
I like it. I like it because you can still have the resources to make camels out of 3 stables when you make it to Castle Age on this eco. I think if it's a different situation and you have to choose between the 2, you're going to want those camels. But still being able to get scouts on the field, that can be helpful for scouting the map. That can be helpful against monks later on. Could be really solid here. And as we see Kingston, this is just so typical. Buys the stone back, drops the second TC. So not as aggressive an opening as we thought.
The TC, though, in a spot, yeah, where you have a lot of villages there, but that's a spot you never get raided at, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly behind you at the end of your base. I think I would have liked it more at the gold or the woodline here.
I don't think you can place one.
Can't really place next to the woodline directly.
Yeah, I think the hills are tough, and you can't place it on the woodline because of the rock terrain.
Yeah.
So we'll see Tato's point of view here as the camels come in. Tato's chopped those trees so he can place it next to the wood line. And he knows he needs a bit of patience here. He absolutely needs that TC to complete. This is dangerous. Those are elite skirms. Panic from Tato now. And he's thinking he's going to clear this. It might not be so easy, though. A couple vills go down, I think.
He did not take light calf. Oh, no, he is taking light calf.
Yeah, he is. And he'll take the fight. TC completes. Oh, man, but so many farmers have to move. We're back now. Kingston has done a nice job. I was incorrect. He's been able to add the eco and be aggressive. 7 camels on the field. These are Gurjara camels, so they're definitely the stronger camels when you compare them long term. And Tato's off of gold. Tato's off of half his farms now.
Yeah, look at that. 10 on food, 2 on gold. That's not enough to fuel 3 stables.
I don't think he's... Maybe he needs to sell his wood as well, like just to get some gold to make more camels.
Yeah, that's what he's doing now.
So impressive from Kingston. It's clear. He got the nerves out of the way yesterday. Maybe it's a style thing, too. We can make arguments, but... This is the Kingston that people were hyped about, and this isn't a do-or-die situation.
Yeah, that's really, really impressive here. And Tato obviously going in as the great favorite, but right now it looks like all Kingston. Love to see it.
I also love the recognition and patience from Kingston to say, okay, we've done enough just sitting in that area. Let's move elsewhere now. Let's just loop around. Let's not stay stagnant with our armies. Tato got a TC up there. That's not really a great TC to protect resources, though.
Yeah, you need another lumber camp there to get to the wood line. Tato's